What if everything you think you know about history's greatest conquerors is a bit off? We recognize their names: Alexander the Great, the undefeated Golden Boy; Genghis Khan, the relentless scourge of God; Napoleon Bonaparte, the genius who brought Europe to its knees. Their legends are etched into the very fabric of our history, filled with tales of brilliant strategy and unstoppable armies. But that's only part of the story. The other part? It's darker. It's a tale of brutal tactics, psychological warfare, and forgotten strategies so ruthless they've been scrubbed from the popular narratives. Today, we're pulling back the curtain to reveal the hidden truths of how these men really built their empires. They weren't just brilliant generals. They were masters of manipulation, terror, and ambition so vast it scorched the earth. If you're someone who loves uncovering the real stories that history has tried to bury, do yourself a favor and subscribe now. Let's kick things off with Alexander the Great. The legend tells us he was a military prodigy, a philosopher king who never lost a battle. And sure, that's true. But his genius wasn't just about winning on the battlefield. It was also about his deep understanding of power and fear. Take the famous story of the Gordian knot. This philosophy was on full display early in his reign. When the Greek city of Thebes revolted, Alexander didn't just defeat their army. He made an example of them. His forces marched about 240 to 300 miles in just 12 to 14 days, catching the Thebans completely off guard. He then razed the city, killed around 6,000 people, and sold another 30,000 into slavery. This wasn't just a battle, it was psychological warfare. The message to the rest of Greece was brutally clear: defy me, and you'll be erased from existence. Even the legend of his invincibility hides a darker truth. During his campaign in the lands of the Mali, an arrow pierced his lung, a wound that nearly killed him. But for his soldiers, seeing their leader bleed and still press forward wasn't a sign of weakness. It was proof of a superhuman will. Alexander wasn't a god, but he expertly crafted the perception of one. When we hear the name Genghis Khan, we often picture a chaotic, barbaric horde sweeping across the land. The Mongol army was one of the most sophisticated and disciplined military forces ever assembled. His first secret weapon wasn't a weapon at all. It was meritocracy. Before Genghis, the Mongolian steppes were a chaotic web of warring tribes. Genghis shattered that system. He promoted his generals based on skill and loyalty alone, not their family name. This unified army became the instrument of his most terrifying strategy: calculated terror. When the Mongols arrived at a city, they offered a simple choice: surrender immediately and be spared, or resist and face total annihilation. Cities that resisted were not just conquered, they were methodically demolished. Eyewitness accounts describe pyramids of skulls erected as warnings to neighboring cities. This brutal calculus was horrifyingly effective. Napoleon Bonaparte is often seen as the modern archetype of military genius. But the hidden truth about Napoleon is that his greatest legacy may not have been military at all. Let's take his infamous Egyptian campaign of 1798. From a military perspective, it was a disaster. But Napoleon hadn't just brought soldiers, he also brought 150 of France's brightest scientists and scholars. While soldiers were fighting and dying, the academics made a discovery that would outlast any empire: the Rosetta Stone. But his battlefield victories were often bitter victories. The Battle of Eylau in 1807, fought in a blinding snowstorm, was a chaotic slaughter. Napoleon held the field, but the casualties, around 25,000 French and over 20,000 Russian, left him deeply shaken. This was the dark reality behind the myth. So, what are the hidden truths of these great conquests? For Alexander, it was the calculated use of psychological terror. For Genghis Khan, it was administrative genius used to spread fear as state policy. And for Napoleon, it was recognizing that conquest could be intellectual as well as martial. These men are remembered as singular titans of history, but conquest is rarely the work of one man alone. The stories of conquest are complex accounts of strategy, brutality, genius, and sacrifice. So we're left with a thought-provoking question: does history ultimately justify the means? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.